Hello, my beautiful ladies. Welcome to the Quantum Queens podcast. My name is Jasmine, and I am here to talk to you guys today about why you can't play fair in an unfair world. Now, if you're new to my podcast, welcome. My name is Jasmine. I am a webcam model. This podcast is going to be about women's empowerment, how to make money, successful mindsets, and the world of webcam modeling in 2021. And today's topic is going to be very, very important because a lot of people in the world still don't see this. They don't see what's right in their faces. And this world is mainly created to be unfair. Everything is unfair. So, why should you play fair when the world is unfair? And why do I say it's an unfair world? I say it's an unfair world because we have to, they expect you to work 40 hours a week just to survive, just to barely live life, just to pay your bills, just to get by. They make you pay for food so you can survive. You have to pay for water to survive. You have to pay for a roof over your head, for shelter. You have to sell your time for a finite amount of money, and that's what's considered normal in this day and age. It's still considered normal to work a 9 to 5 job, 40 hours a week, and make X amount of money. That is considered normal. And I see it as a form of slavery. I think a 9 to 5 job where you give your time for a finite amount of money is a new form of slavery. I really believe that because who's to say that your life, your energy, the energy that you're putting out to help somebody else's company, you know, if you're working for a big company, they probably have thousands of employees, hundreds of employees. Who's to say that your amount of time, your energy is worth this much money? Who made that rule? Who made it a thing to where, that amount of money is what your life force energy is worth for this amount of time? It is modern day slavery, working for a finite amount of money or a salary. And I think that the world is so unfair. This matrix has been created to enslave you. Everything from going to college, getting a job, everything is meant to enslave you, to enslave your mind from growth, to enslave your ability to grow and to actually enjoy your life. They set up all these different distractions so that you can't realize this. They set up so many distractions so that you don't come to this realization. Because once you come to this realization, that's when they know that they can't control you anymore because you're not willing to sell your time for a certain amount of money. You're not willing to be enslaved to a system that could care less about you if you died the next day. They will have your replacement lined up. The world is unfair because us as women, the world is especially, it's unfair for everybody, but for us as women, it's especially unfair. It's especially unfair because we are automatically born as the lesser of the two sexes. Men will forever dominate, men will forever be the more powerful gender. But who's to say that we can't also be smart? Who's to say that we can't also dominate in our own way? You know, we as women, we're trained from birth. From birth, the Matrix programs us to have a mentality that, you know, it programs us to have this fairy princess mentality. And what is the fairy princess mentality? The fairy princess mentality is the mentality that someday when when we grow up, it trains us to be mothers from a young age by giving us dolls to play with, Barbies. It trains us to be superficial and to realize that our looks are the only thing valuable about us. By giving us Barbies, they give us, dolls, um, all these things they put in your face as a little girl to make you realize that, okay, well, if I don't look like Barbie, if I don't look perfect, then I'm just not pretty. I'm not worth anything. That's what they train you to think of yourself from a very young age. They train you to put value on your looks. And from a very young age, we're taught that from what we see in movies, like all the Disney movies that they shove down our throats as young girls, the fairy princess movies, the princess that she finds her prince and they get married and they live happily ever after and there's no issues. It's just happily ever after fairy tale. That's what they shove down your throat. So they send you out into the world with this expectation of like this fairy a fairy godmother is gonna come and like fix my life, or a prince is gonna come and save me and everything's gonna be good. So you go out into the world being all innocent, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're met with reality. Reality smacks you in the face like a ton of bricks, and you realize that the world is not all candy and rainbows and sunshine. The world is a very, very ruthless place. We're taught that we need to be virtuous, that we need to be a wife someday. We're taught that we need to have respect for ourselves because, you know, what man is going to want a wife that does this or that looks like that, or we're taught to put value in, we're only valuable if we have a husband. We're only valuable if we have a prince. And that's what we're taught. We're constantly taught throughout these movies that we're basically forced to watch when we're young. Like our parents don't realize what these movies are actually doing, but these Disney movies and these princess movies, it's cute. It's cute. It seems cute when you're little, but when you realize what it's actually teaching you is it's teaching you that if you don't have a prince that comes into your life, then your life is going to be miserable. Your life is it's going to keep being miserable until you let a man into your life, until you let the prince into your life to save you. Then your life is going to, you're going to be Cinderella. You're going to be living a hard life unless you find the prince, unless you find the man that's going to save you. That's what it teaches you. And it teaches you that, you're not valuable unless you have a prince, unless you get the prince, then you're not valuable. Then you're living a hard life. Then, things aren't going so well. But they teach you that as soon as the man comes in, as soon as the prince comes to save the day, that's when all your problems are going to end. And so that's what the world conditions us to believe from such a young age. And so when we grow up, and if you're anything like me who had religious parents growing up, you're probably used to being told, especially if you're a woman, you're probably used to being told that, oh, you need to find a husband or you need to get married. You can't be with a man unless you're married. You can't have any type of, you know, real relationship with a man unless you're married. It's made to be this big thing. Unless you're married or with a man, then your life as a woman is practically useless if you're not with a man or if you're not married. And so that's what they program us with, from a young age, with these movies and with what society tells us. That's what society tells us as women, that we need to have kids or have a man and just be a good wife, and that's all you need to do. Work hard, go to your job, make money, contribute, and that's all they tell you. And so we spend so much energy as women trying to be this good girl, trying to be this package of what we were told that we needed to be. We try to be good. We try to follow all the rules. We try to go to school. We try to do all these things that they told us we had to do. We try to go. We go to college to get our education. We learn. We put ourselves out there to be successful, to get careers, we put ourselves through college just like our male counterparts. We put ourselves through school, we get careers. We're taught that this is all the stuff we need to be that good girl, to be that desirable woman that every man wants. We have to act a certain way, be a certain way. You have to be virtuous. You have to not be, not, you have to carry yourself in a certain way. You have to have an education. We're taught all of these things, and so we strive to be all these things. But then it's like, at what cost? At what cost does it what cost do you have to pay to live that perfect life? And especially in the day and age where these men aren't being trained in the same way. They're not being trained in the same way as we are as women. We're taught from such a young age on how to act and how to be as a woman. But when we go out into the world at the same time as these men do, these men, their their whole thing is like, no one's teaching them like, oh, go and get married, be a good man, stand by your woman, be there for her all the time, be loyal, be a man, be a protector, be a provider. That's what you're supposed to do as a man. Nobody's drilling that stuff into them from a young age, you know, just like they're drilling it into us as women. They're drilling into these men that, um actually, I don't know. I don't even know if anyone's really drilling this into them. I think it just comes from the overall male culture, but it's basically training men to have no value in women, to basically use them for their sexual needs. They're training men how to be players, teaching young men how to, play women, have multiple girlfriends. Like that's what they that's what society basically trains men to be. So, as women, we're already set up for failure because we're being trained to have this very princess mentality, and then we're being sent out into a world filled with wolves. And it's just sad that we're being taught that. And then at the same time, the men are being taught like to have hookups, and like that's all they want. And at the same time, it's like a lot of men out there, they don't want to have a wife, they don't want a good woman, and even if they do have a good woman, they're not going to treat you with the same respect because it's just not what they want. That's not what men want anymore. And we just have to accept that the world is not fair anymore. The world is not fair. It's meant to enslave you, it's meant to make you feel bad about yourself. The world wants you to feel bad about yourself so that you don't open up your mind and act upon what you actually want so that you can actually be happy. Because when you do that, you automatically realize that, like, this world is unfair, so why do I have to play by the rules? Why do I have to be this good, quote, good woman with a legit career that's considered, quote, respectful, that's considered, acceptable? Why do I have to play fair by working 40 hours a week, doing something that I probably hate doing? Why do you have to play fair in a world that's clearly unfair? And that's what I wanted to share with you guys today is that you have to think out of the box. You can't play fair in a world that's so unfair. They make it so unfair to where, even if you do play by the rules, even if you do everything they tell you to do, even if you do go to college, even if you do work 40 hours a week, even if you do work the 9 to 5, even if you do accept being paid a finite amount of money for your time, even if you accept to going to college to get the degrees, to paying back all those student loans, even if you agree to all of that, you're still going to fail because you're never going to be happy. Even if it looks good on paper, even if it looks good to people in the matrix, even if it looks good to them that, your accomplishments, how, quote, good of a person you are, even if it looks good on paper that you're following all the rules, you're still going to be unhappy because you know deep down inside that it's unfair. You know deep down inside that you're being scammed, you're being sold a lie. You're not happy. And I don't know about you guys, but in real life, I don't know anybody that works a 9 to 5 job that pays a finite amount of money, or that has a salary, that actually enjoys what they do, like deep down to their soul. I don't know anybody that has one of those matrix jobs, or, you know, one of these jobs that you have to go to college to get. I don't know anybody that actually enjoys the job down to their soul. Like they could do it to where even if they weren't being paid, they would still do it because they enjoy it. I don't know anybody like that. And I don't know anyone that's genuinely happy doing that. I don't know if you guys do, but to me, I don't know anybody like that. And to be honest, the people that I do know that are working those kinds of jobs, and a lot of my clients work these kinds of jobs, and I can tell you they are miserable. They know that they could be doing so much better. They know they could be living their dreams if they wanted to, but they know that, you know, they're scared to play unfair. They're scared to live life by their own terms. And it's sad because it's like you only have one life. Why are you going to waste your whole life being miserable, hating what you do, especially as a woman? Like, we have to enjoy our life. Like, you should enjoy what you do, especially as a woman. Like, our bodies are so much more sensitive to men's. Maybe men can work on their feet all day and actually enjoy it, but us women, like, we need rest, we need comfort, we need the option, we need to choose, we need the ability to choose what we want to do. We deserve the ability to, you know, choose how much stress we want to put on our bodies. Because I know, like, I worked 1 year in the nursing industry as a CNA or nurse assistant. I worked a whole year in that industry on my feet. I did the 9 to 5 thing, and I was on my feet a lot of times for 8 to 12 hours a day, and I worked night shift. I put a lot of stress on my body in that 1 year of doing that job. And, I had health issues, I was overweight, that the job was putting so much stress on my body that, you know, I was tired all the time. I was depleted. My hair was falling out. I was always stressed. I was always sad because of, the environment that I was in. And it just made me think wow, like a lot of women are putting themselves through these jobs and these positions where we're not being compensated fairly for it. First of all, we're not being compensated fairly. And then on top of that, it's putting so much pressure on our bodies that, it can seriously deter your quality of life. And I know, like, there's a lot more physically taxing jobs that women do. And it's not necessarily because they want to do it, it's because they have to do it because they feel like they're in this position where um they can't get another job, or maybe it's harder to get another job, or there's no other job that will maybe pay them that much, so they put themselves through it. And it could have some serious effects on your health, on your happiness, your mental state, your well-being. And I've had a lot of jobs where I had to be on my feet all day, and you know they only allowed maybe a 10-minute break, and it was very stressful, and it was very hard doing jobs like that. And so you have to ask yourself, if you're going to play fair in this unfair world, then at what cost are you willing to do that? What cost are you willing to pay so that you can play fair? Because at the end of the day, you get nothing out of playing fair. You get absolutely nothing. The only thing you get out of playing fair is the pride to say that you played fair, and that's it. And a lot of people are so brainwashed that they believe that they're gonna get a trophy for playing fair. You're gonna be celebrated for playing fair, you know. And a lot of times they go through their whole life with so much regret because they played fair. And this life, there's so many cheating that goes on, there's so many games, there's so many ways that people get played that they don't even realize they're being played, because your life force energy is the most important thing in this world. Like, the most valuable thing is life force energy, because without life force energy, nothing can be created. And so they would rather steal your life force energy to grow their corporations, to grow their billion-dollar businesses. And then when they use up your energy that you use to help them, like if you work for a big company, um, let's say for example you work for Amazon, you work in a warehouse, and like you're lifting boxes all day, you're carrying heavy boxes, you're pushing around carts, you're doing all this physically taxing work. And then Amazon, which is like a $1 billion company, if something happens to you, let's say you get injured on the job, or you have a horrible back pain that comes up from all this heavy lifting that you're doing, and then you have to quit, you know, if something happens to you, you can't work, it's really painful to work, so you have to quit. And, you know, who is that going to affect at the end of the day? It's not going to affect Jeff Bezos because he's just going to hire somebody else to cover for you. The company is just going to replace you the next day. You know, they have people that are that desperate for money and that desperate for jobs that they're going to give your position away to the next person, to the next qualified person. And where does that leave you? That leaves you with that leaves you out of a job, and then that also leaves you with a sore back, or God forbid a health issue that you can't easily come back from. And so it really does affect your quality of life. It really does. Not even the physical part of it. Let's talk about the mental part of it. The mental part of having to show up somewhere every single day. Like you have to, or else, you have no money. You have to physically show up somewhere every day. You have to give your energy. You have to deal with these people. Maybe you have horrible coworkers. Maybe you have people you work with that stress you out. You have to deal with these people every single day. And this is all that you're getting for it is basically some change and all these extra problems that you have to deal with now, like health issues and mental issues because of the things that you're going through on a day-to-day basis with this job. And a lot of people think that having a job is a badge of honor, like you did the best thing in the world because you have a job. And it's sad that that's a thing, but I think that we as a woman, we have to realize our true power. You have to realize your true power as a woman and realize that you do have other options out there, and what cost are you willing to pay to play fair? Because I tell you, even if you do play fair, let's say you play by the book, you get married, let's say you have kids, do you think that man is going to play fair and be loyal to you? Do you think that man is going to play fair and not leave you when someone better comes along? Like, no. In this world, everyone plays to win. And if you play fair, that means you play to lose. That's just how it is nowadays. Like, if you play fair, that means you're playing to lose. You're setting yourself up to lose. The only people who win in today's society are those that don't play by the rules. If you don't play by the rules, if you think outside the box, if you do your own thing and you're happy and you have happiness and success when you do it, that means that you're winning. That's what winning is. Winning is doing what you want to do when you want to do it and being happy. Like, not even just happy, but like have this feeling in your soul that you are content with how your life is, that you wouldn't want to be doing anything else because you know this is what you love to do. That's what being happy is. That's what winning looks like and feels like. So, every single day when you go to work or whatever it is you do, ask yourself, what am I willing to pay to play fair? What are you willing to pay to play fair in an unfair world? This world is so unfair. They will throw everything at you to watch you fail. They will enslave you and make you feel worthless. It will constantly try to tear you down, constantly try to make you feel like you're inadequate, constantly try to make you feel like you're not good enough. So are you going to feed into that? or are you going to choose to win? Are you going to choose to play unfair like everybody else that's winning? Because it might seem unfair, it might seem wrong, you know, not everything is right, but everything everything is only right. It can only be right or wrong to the person that's doing it, to the player, the person that's playing. You know, what's wrong to me might not be wrong to you. What's right to you might not be right to me. But it all depends on the individual. It all depends on what you want for yourself. This world and this matrix is so unfair, but all the people that are winning, all the people that are controlling it, all the people that have control over their own lives, their own livelihood, and their own mental state, all the people that aren't enslaved, the people that choose when they want to work, the people that create businesses, the people that are working on their own time, people that make their own decisions, those are the people that are playing unfair in this matrix. They want you to be enslaved. They want you to go to their colleges to indoctrinate you and make you feel enslaved. It literally teaches you how to get a job so you can be enslaved for the rest of your life. And then you have to pay them thousands and thousands of dollars for it. That's literally how it is. They make you pay them to enslave you. That's this matrix. And in order to get out of it, the only way you can get out of it is to play unfair. You can't play fair. You can't do what everybody else is doing because you'll never win. It's a never ending cycle of disappointment when you choose to play fair. And I know all this from personal experience. I've played fair my whole entire life up until when I decided to play unfair. And ever since I decided to play unfair and to cheat the game, to cheat this matrix, my life has never been better. I've never been stressed. I've never had sickness. I've never had anxiety like I used to. I never had financial struggles. I never wanted for anything after I decided to play unfair because I decided now that I control my life. I control everything that I do. And I want you to do the same thing. As a quantum queen, you make your own rules. You decide when you want to work. You decide what you want to do. You decide your life. You set the tone for your life. You are a queen. You are a goddess. You should use your powers and use them to their full benefit. And it only benefits you. It's your life. You're the only one living your life. Don't give anyone the power to take that away from you, to take your choices away from you. This world is so unfair. They will pressure you to do things the right way, to do things in their definition of what's right. There's literal jobs where they will blackmail you and coerce you that you have to take experimental medicine or do all these other things just so that you can work. And to me, that's slavery. I think it's slavery, and honestly, like, I would rather be labeled as an unfair player than be labeled as a fair player. Because honestly, if you play fair in an unfair world, like that's just dumb. That's just stupid. It's literal literally survival of the fittest. And if you haven't realized by now that this world is unfair, then that's just like playing dumb. That's just being blind to what's right in front of you. Like the world is not fair. So why would you play fair in an unfair world? That it doesn't make any sense. So I want you to think of that when you're going through your day-to-day life, whatever it is you're doing. Look at all the unfairness around you. Look at everything unfair, everything that you feel in your soul is just unfair. And ask yourself, are you willing to keep playing fair? Are you going to keep playing fair in a world where fairness is basically weak? They want you to be weak so that they can win over you. They want you to be weak, but you need to be strong. You need to play unfair. You need to be smart. You need to have, just like they play games to you, you need to play games to them. They don't want your life to be easy. They don't want you to enjoy your life. They want you to be miserable. They want you to be sad. They want you to be in a state of fear constantly. They want you to be in a state of fear so that you can look to them for directions, so they can further lead you down to fail. That is the truth of it. So stop playing fair in this unfair world. Cheat if you have to, you know, cheat if you have to cut some loose ends to make your life better, then do it. Do what you need to do. Put yourself first. Always put yourself first. Because at the end of the day, it's your life. Nobody is living life through you with your experiences, your exact experiences. Only you know how it is you feel after you do certain things. Only you know how it is you feel when you leave that job. Only you know it is how you feel when you interact with that person. You're the only person that knows your feelings. So play accordingly and don't play fair in this unfair world. And that's really what I wanted to share with you girls today. I have a lot of other topics that I want to share that I think can help you guys so much. And I appreciate you for listening. And I hope you got something valuable out of this episode. And I will see you girls in the next one. Bye.